This transmission, I am here, answered my first question that I had from Follow Me. It told me who was speaking, but it also gave me something much more valuable. It told me I wasn't alone, and then it did something else. When I first heard this transmission, it gave me a kind of hope that I didn't know that I needed, because at that time in my life, I felt very alone in the world. My dad had died when I was a little girl and had felt sort of abruptly abandoned, lost as well, because my dad was the person that I used to go to for answers. But even though he wasn't there, I still looked outside of myself for answers, in books, conversations with family and friends, anything I thought that could give me direction, that would help me know what I was supposed to do next. But what I began to realise during my early 30s, during those times of deep meditation, was that my deepest answers didn't come from outside. They came quietly, as a soft inner voice. It wasn't loud and glaringly obvious, and it was often hidden in amongst that steady stream of thoughts that were just arising naturally in my head. But I learned to meditate when I was 29. And not long after that, I found that this quiet inner voice began to become more obvious, as if something loving and patient had been there all along and had just been waiting for me to get still enough to hear it. So this transmission, I am here, answered my first question that I had from Follow Me. It told me who was speaking, but it also gave me something much more valuable. It addressed a long-held sense of isolation, something that I'd carried for as long as I could remember from childhood. It told me I wasn't alone, and then it did something else. It gave me guidance on how to live my life with greater awareness, discernment, and compassion in my ordinary daily life. I wanted to just start this video with a little introduction to better clarify what the video is about. Okay, now back to the original video. Hello, I'm Aannsha. If you watched the first soul transmission video called Follow Me, then you may have been left with the question, who was actually speaking to Aannsha? That's a question I sat with for many years. These messages actually came flowing through me. I heard them as a voice in my head, and I started to write them down exactly as I heard them. I was fortunate, I think, because I'd learned shorthand way back in the day. And so I was able to write down what I was hearing exactly as I was hearing it, without analysing it and without making any changes. At the time, I wondered whether it was an angel speaking or a guide or something else. Over the years, I've come to a deep understanding of actually who it was that was speaking. Today's transmission is called I Am Here. As before, I'll read it exactly as I receive the words. I am here. Why do you feel so downhearted?
Why do you search the earth and reach to the stars for the perfect relationship? You have it right there, inside of you, beating, fluttering, caressing, sighing. You have love walking by your side, in your heart every moment of your life. And yet you look for me beyond time and space. Well, yes, you will find me there. But why search so long and hard when you have but to sit and feel me? Feel me in your words, your thoughts, your touch. You feel angry and you reject it. You recoil when you see yourself mirrored around you. You want to change the world, the men, the women, and yet we are all one. For the love you search for is me, and I am here, in you, and around you. I am even behind that angry word, that harsh reply. And yet that is not my essence, for I am love. And to fully feel my love, allow yourself to accept the anger, and the heartache, and the suffering. Allow yourself to come to rest within your own heart when all around you is in turmoil. For then you will know me, and in knowing me you will know yourself. Love yourself, and you will love your brothers and sisters. Accept yourself, and you accept your world, and therein you will find the love you are searching for. And in your loving relationship with yourself, you will experience great joy and love with others. For until you have a love in your heart for yourself, you will see me in others as a distortion. Accept all your emotions and accept the actions of others. For everyone is struggling with their own demons that cloud their view of real beauty, of love, and separate them from me. Call upon me in times of great emotional turmoil, and you will hear my answer. You will know me by my gentle voice whispering to you, making yourself known in the seas of unrest. Allow yourself to follow my voice in the stillness of your heart and mind, and we shall walk hand in hand across the earth, feeling our way, rejoicing in love and delighting in our relationships with all of life and humankind. This is the voice of your spirit
in eternal love. When these transmissions first came to me, I assumed that they had to come from somewhere outside of myself. It never occurred to me that my own soul might have something so beautiful to say. Looking back, I see that that belief came from one where I felt that I wasn't enough. Not spiritual enough, not wise enough, not worthy enough, not good enough, and certainly not lovable enough. I suspect many of us carry a version of that same story, and we look outside of ourselves for love, for approval, for wisdom, and the validation of what we think we lack. But over the decades, I've learned something powerful and very profound, actually. Our deeper self, our soul, if you like, is not separate. It's not separate from us, and it's not separate from the greater totality of all that is. So what's the heart of this transmission? I guess this message turns our usual searching upside down. You know, we spend a lot of our lives searching outwards for what we think is going to make us happy. You know, the perfect partner, great job, validation somehow from people around us. Yet the transmission says something profoundly simple. It says, "For the love you search for is me, and I am here, in you and around you. Not somewhere else, not after you become perfect, not after more years of striving, right here, right now." That's actually good news. And when I read it and reread it and kind of it clicked, it made me really stop and look at how I'd been living my life and what I'd been trying to do, and rethink, wow, maybe it's something more simple than that. Maybe it's something easy. Maybe all of those years of struggle weren't for nothing, because I learned stuff, I learned about myself. Yeah, it really made me stop and think and go, okay, so if it's in me, how am I going to do this? This transmission also talks about the mirror, seeing yourself in others. And there's one line that kind of really makes me stop and think every time I read it, and that's, "You recoil when you see yourself mirrored around you." How often do we get triggered by other people, by their anger, by what they look like, by what they say, by what they believe, by their fear, their neediness? So these moments of annoyance, they're actually powerful invitations to take that mirror and turn it around and look within ourselves and say, what is this showing me about myself? Because if we didn't have a button that was able to be pushed, it wouldn't affect us. For instance, you may be with a friend and somebody comes up and they say something to both of you and you might take offence, but your friend might just go right over their head because it doesn't bother them. So in that instance, it might be an idea to go, oh, okay, what is this showing me about myself? Why did I react? That's a whole topic for a completely different video. But I really think it's amazing that this beautifully worded transmission is giving so many gems of wisdom in there that we can take hold of and use practically to find more happiness, find more inner fulfillment and love. I think it's really amazing, actually. The more I look at these transmissions, the more encoded they are, if you like, with information on how to disentangle from the stuff that we've learned that is keeping us limited or keeping us unhappy or keeping us from that job or whatever. And they give us the keys to open the doors to unlocking the true source of what will make us happy, and that's on the inside. Anyway, that's me gushing. So the other thing about the mirror, once we start working with it and going, okay, so that ticked me off. What is it within me that is being, set off by that? We can then remember that everybody is struggling with this. Everybody has got their own demons that cloud their view of reality. And so we find compassion for ourselves, but we can also find compassion for other people because we're all human. We've all got stuff, we've all got emotional baggage and all of the rest of it. So maybe that person, even though they may be acting like that or saying that, maybe because of where they are, they deserve compassion too. One thing I want to make clear though, acceptance is not approval. So when this says accept all your emotions and accept the actions of others, I want to put a caveat on that. Acceptance does not mean agreeing to harmful behaviour, and it also does not mean becoming a doormat. Acceptance simply means acknowledging it in the right here, right now, without fighting it. When we stop resisting our emotions, it allows them to move and they begin to soften. To use an old phrase that I picked up years ago, emotion is energy in motion. So as we stop holding on to them, they can just move through us. And beneath them, we discover something much quieter, something unexpectedly loving. The transmission ends by reminding us how our deeper presence communicates. You will know me by my gentle voice whispering to you. Love that. It's not a big loud voice. It doesn't come with fireworks. It's a quiet, almost whispering voice, and the voice of true inner guidance. It never shames, it never condemns, and it never bullies. So even when it asks us to grow or suggests changing direction, it does so with love, understanding, and compassion. And the more still we can become, the easier it is to perceive that quiet inner voice. So in closing, here's a gentle invitation for you today. Instead of searching outside of yourself, just take a few moments right now. Close your eyes if you like. Place your hand on your heart and just breathe normally. And just ask yourself, what if everything I've been looking for is already here? You are not separate from love. You are never abandoned. You are never alone. The presence you seek has been walking beside you all along. quietly, patiently, lovingly, saying, I am here. And open your eyes. If this transmission touched you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. You can type I am here if this message resonates. In the next video, I'll share some practical teachings on how to connect with your own inner guidance, or what I like to call the little inner voice. After that, we'll explore the next transmission, which is called Expression of Life. And if you'd like to journey through all of these with me, please subscribe and join the Soul Return family. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.